Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice.
And now to our story. Things have taken a serious turn at the Bartlett logging camp deep in the North Woods, where Clark Kent and young Jimmy Olsen are involved in a baffling mystery. Not only have 4 lumberjacks met death at unknown hands, but the legend of the White Plague, said to be responsible for the deaths, now seems to be seeking vengeance from Kent and Jimmy. When we last saw them, they were driving a horse-drawn sled back to the camp. A sled carrying the lifeless body of a lumberjack who had suddenly and mysteriously collapsed. Without warning, a rifle began blazing at them from the woods adjoining the trail. Shouting to Jimmy to keep low, Kent sent the horse into a gallop as steel-jacketed bullets whined about his head.
Stay down, Jimmy. Whoever's handling that rifle means business. Get up, boy.
Be careful, Mr. Kent. You get hit.
Don't worry about me.
Stop shooting.
Yeah, but keep low until we get around this bend. There, okay. I guess we can pull up. Whoa, boy. Whoa there. Whoa. There.
A close call. Who do you think it was, Mr. Kent?
I don't know, Jimmy. But if they think we're going to take this lying down, they're crazy. They can believe that the White Plague kills off people mysteriously if they want to, but the White Plague doesn't shoot a high-powered rifle.
You know, I'd almost swear that a couple of those bullets bounced off your back.
Oh, now look here, Jimmy.
Oh, I admit it's impossible, but that's how it seemed. Every time there was a shot, I heard the bullet whiz by. Every time except twice. Then there was a little thump, and he sort of stiffened up and... Oh, forget it. I'm just nuts.
I'm beginning to think so.
Well, what do we do now? No sense sitting here. We might just as well go on to the camp.
I'd like to sneak back and see if I can find some trace of whoever was shooting at us.
Well, let him have another shot at you? I know you've got a lot of courage and all that, but good grief, you're not Superman.
Oh, no? No, of course not. Well, let's head for the camp, but don't mention this shooting incident to anyone, Jimmy.
And not even to Mr. Harmon?
Not even to Mr. Harmon. He has plenty to worry about as it is. Let's keep it quiet for a while.
Okay.
Get up, boy. Come on. Get up. Get up. Oh, that fire sure feels good after spending most of the day watching your men chop trees, Mr. Harmon.
Yes, I suppose it does. Kent, I'm at the end of my rope. This last thing, Sam Green's death, is all I can stand. I'm riding into town tonight to wire Mr. Bartlett that I'm closing up.
You can't do that, Mr. Harmon. That's quitting in the face of a little trouble.
You call this a little trouble? 4 men dead under strange circumstances and every human being in the camp in deadly fear that he'll be next? You call that a little trouble?
Well, I admit it's puzzling, but there must be a solution. This nonsense about the White Plague seeking vengeance on your men because they've been cutting trees with snow-covered roots is so much childish superstition.
Yes, I know. But you can't convince the men of that. Some of them are getting ready to leave now.
What does Dawson say?
What can he say? Bill doesn't believe it any more than you or I do, but he's helpless. Matter of fact, you and young Jimmy have no right staying here. What if something happened to either one of you?
Oh, nothing's going to happen to us. By the way, where is Jimmy?
Why, Nancy took him out back to show him the baby raccoon she's penned up.
Oh.
Come in. Oh, it's you, Olaf.
Yeah, I bring back rifle, Mr. Harmon.
All right, just set it in the corner with the others, Olaf.
Thank you.
And if you see Mr. Dawson, Olaf, ask him to step in.
Yeah, Mr. Harmon, I will.
Was he one of the felling crew Dawson had out this morning, Mr. Harmon? The crew Sam Green was with?
Yes.
Where did he get the rifle?
Why, each crew takes one along in case of wolves or bears.
And that rifle went along with Dawson's crew?
Now, I'm sorry, Kent, but frankly, I'm in no state of mind to answer unimportant questions. What difference does it make what rifle went with what crew? Haven't we more important things to think about?
I wonder.
Where are you going, Kent?
Which of these rifles did that Swede just return?
Well, the one on the right.
This one?
Yes.
Here, smell this barrel. Burnt powder. This rifle's been shot recently.
Well, what of it? Is there any law against firing a rifle?
Well, yes, if you fire it at human beings.
What are you talking about, Kent?
Well, I hadn't intended telling you this for fear of worrying you further, but someone tried to kill Jimmy and myself today, Mr. Harmon.
What? Well, Kent, you don't mean that.
I'm afraid I do. When we were driving the sled back to camp, someone fired at us from the woods with a rifle. This rifle.
Someone fired at you?
Yes, quite a number of shots.
But why, Kent?
Well, that's not important at the moment. What is important is that this rifle was used to fire the shots.
You can't be sure of that. We have 4 rifles in camp, all of them the same make. They may have all been fired today. At wolves.
Well, we can find out, can't we? The crew Jimmy and I were with had no reason for using a rifle. That is, up to the time we left. Suppose you call that Swedish logger back. He should know whether the rifle was used.
It's a good idea, Kent. I'll put my Mackinaw on and get him. This is simply terrible. I'll be right back.
I wonder whether the person who used this rifle was smart enough to reload it. Well, only one way to find out. There's a brand new, full 5-shot clip in here. He was smart enough. But he didn't bother to clean the barrel, and that's what may hang all this on him. Well, you didn't waste any time, Mr. Harmon.
Well, there isn't any to waste. Olaf, this is Mr. Kent.
I've been glad to meet you, Mr. Kent.
How do you do, Olaf?
That's the rifle you just returned, isn't it, Olaf? The one Mr. Kent is holding?
Yeah, I think so.
It's the one you brought back a few minutes ago and placed in the corner?
Yeah.
Was that rifle used today, Olaf?
You mean was shot, Mr. Harmon?
Yes, I mean shot.
Oh, no, that's rifle she know was shot today. No.
Are you sure, Olaf?
I've been sure, just like I've been sure my name Olaf Johnson.
Nobody shot this rifle?
Yeah.
You mean somebody did shoot it?
Oh, no, you got me twisted, Mr. Harmon.
Kent, you'd better take over. I can't even think straight.
Olaf, you say the rifle wasn't shot all day, is that right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How do you know it wasn't shot? Where was it?
Leaning on stump. I've been see it 20 times, maybe.
I understand. You saw the rifle leaning against the stump. All right, but someone might have picked it up and shot it.
No.
Did you hear any rifle shots this afternoon?
Yeah.
Oh, but you're sure they didn't come from this gun?
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Harmon, either he's lying or he's mistaken.
Olaf never lie. What you mean when you say that?
Now, take it easy, Olaf. Mr. Kent didn't say that you lied.
Yeah, I've been here. He may know was deaf. I punch him in his nose.
I'm sorry, Olaf. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings.
I hurt your face with punching nose if you say Olaf tell lie.
All right, Olaf, all right. You can go now.
And Olaf say rifle no shot. Rifle no shot. Ain't no tell lie.
Well, I always knew Swedes were sensitive, but not that sensitive.
Well, now what, Kent? Looks like we're up against a blank wall again.
While you were getting Olaf, I examined the rifle, Mr. Harmon. Whoever used it took the precaution of reloading it with a new clip of cartridges. That convinces me this was the gun employed.
Well, assuming that it is, what good does that knowledge do us unless we know who pulled the trigger? Oh, I wish Dawson would get here. Maybe he knows the answer to this.
Why, didn't he come back with the crew?
Yes, but an ice jam developed on the river. We went down to blow it out.
Oh.
We're due to float 10,000 feet downstream tonight because it must reach the mill by next week. Well, he should be back shortly. Kent, I don't think I can stand much more of this.
Oh, now, buck up, Mr. Harmon. It'll straighten out.
I suppose so. In the meantime, I can't take it. I'm not as young as I'd like to be when trouble starts brewing. I've had my share of it all my life and managed to squeeze by, but when you're going on 55, Kent, you feel as though you've got a right to sit back, relax.
Well, you'll get that chance, I'm sure.
I'm worried about Nancy, Kent. When I take things hard, it upsets her terribly. I know she hasn't slept a wink these last few nights. I hear her get up, come out, and sit by the fire. It's not right.
Oh. Hey, by the way, where are Jimmy and Nancy? I didn't realize it, but it's almost dark.
Why, I told you they went out to look at the raccoons.
Yes, but that was almost an hour ago. Where are the raccoons?
The wire pen out and back. Here, this way. Yeah, there's the pen, next to that shed.
Well, I don't see either of them. Jimmy!
I may have walked down around the cabins. Nancy knows my whistle. She'll answer it. That's funny.
I'm going to look for them. It'll be pitch dark soon.
Now, wait a minute, Kent. Look at these footprints in the snow around the pen. One set is Nancy's, and the other set must be Jimmy's.
Yes, it is. We can follow them. Come on.
Where do they lead to?
Back of the shed. What's there?
Nothing but a little cleared land and a pine woods.
Well, the prints are headed right for the woods.
I don't like this, Kent. Nancy would never wander away like this.
Wait a minute. Hold up.
Why, what is it, Kent?
Look. They never got to the woods. The footprints end here, right out in the open.
No, they must have gone back or turned off.
Those are the only footprints in the snow besides our own.
But, Kent, it's impossible. They couldn't just vanish. Where could they have gone?
And according to these footprints, there's only one place they could have gone. Up in the air.
Now, what strange, baffling thing has happened to add to the mystery surrounding the logging camp? Where did Jimmy and Nancy Harmon vanish to, and how is it possible that their footprints in the snow ended abruptly? Can you figure it out? If you can't, don't fail to listen to the next episode of Superman.
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
And now to our story. The legend of the White Plague, a strange superstition of the frozen north, has been terrorizing the Bartlett logging camp where Clark Kent and young Jimmy Olsen are vacationing. When we last saw Kent, he and Fred Harmon, middle-aged boss of the camp, were alone in the camp office. Suddenly, Kent realized it was getting dark and wondered what had happened to Harmon's daughter, Nancy, and Jimmy Olsen, both of whom had gone out to look at some young raccoons penned up behind the cabin. Kent investigated but found no sign of them. However, their footprints were clearly visible in the snow and seemed to point in the direction of a pine forest about a quarter of a mile behind the logging camp. Puzzled and worried, Kent and Harmon followed the footprints until they suddenly and mysteriously stopped halfway between the camp and the forest. For a moment, both men were speechless. Then Kent said,
Look, Mr. Harmon. They never got to the woods. These footprints end abruptly right out here in the open.
But it's impossible, Kent. They must have gone back or turned off and walked in another direction.
Those are the only footprints in the snow besides our own.
But, Kent, it's fantastic. Nancy and Jimmy couldn't just vanish. Where did they go?
According to these footprints, there's only one place they could have gone, up in the air.
Kent, please, this is no time for jokes. In another 10 minutes, it'll be pitch dark. Nancy! Nancy!
You'd better go back to camp, Mr. Harmon. Check all the cabins. Jimmy has an insatiable curiosity, and he might have talked Nancy into taking him on a tour of inspection. I'll look through the pine woods.
Wait a minute. Someone's coming. Oh, it's you, Dawson.
Evening, Kent. Something wrong?
Plenty, Dawson. Nancy and Kent's boy, Jimmy, have disappeared.
What?
I think they've just wandered off, Mr. Dawson. Probably find them in one of the loggers' cabins chewing the fat.
I wish I was that optimistic. Look at those footprints in the snow, Dawson. They're Nancy's and Jimmy's. See how they stopped short?
Oh, back tracks?
No, they didn't turn back.
That's funny. The tracks got to lead somewhere.
That's what frightens me. They don't.
Now, look, Mr. Harmon, you mustn't let go. I'm just as concerned as you are, but we'll find them. You and Dawson check the cabins. I'll search the woods.
No man in his right mind goes into them woods alone after dark, Mr. Kent. Not with the wolves hungry as they are.
Wolves don't bother me. You check the cabins. And if you locate them, give me a shout.
Hold up, Kent. Don't go in there alone. I'd better go with them, Mr. Harmon. You route the men out and have them search the east woods in pairs. I'll go along with Kent.
All right. All right.
Hold up, Kent. I'm coming with you.
Don't worry too much about me, Dawson.
You don't know the North Woods during a bad winter, Mr. Kent. Even a hungry fox will charge a man. Come on.
What do you make of all this, Dawson?
I don't know. Don't seem human.
Oh, it's human, all right. I didn't tell you, but Jimmy and I came close to losing our lives when we drove that sled back to camp today.
What?
Someone fired at us from the woods. That was human, all right. That much you can count on. Legends, even important ones like the White Plague, can't pull the trigger of a high-powered rifle.
You mean someone actually shot at you and the boy trying to hit you?
That's just what I mean. And the rifle he used was the same one your logging crew took along on the job today.
Now, just a minute, Kent. If you're insinuating that one of my
I'm not
men...
insinuating anything, Mr. Dawson. I'm stating cold facts.
Well, since you know what rifle was used, maybe you know who used it.
No, I don't. At least at the moment. But I'll find out, Dawson, if I have to stay here until the snow melts. Well, here we are at the edge of the woods. You see any tracks?
I don't want. They're not in the woods, Kent. Nancy knew better than to go into that thick pine at night.
Jimmy!
Jimmy!
That can be heard for over a mile. If there's no answer...
Wait a minute. Thought I heard something moving through the brush.
Woodchuck, likely. That pine's full of them.
Jimmy! Miss Harmon!
What was that? Sounded like shots.
Rifle from the camp. Come on, let's beat it back.
Who do you think's shooting?
Don't know. Cut back to the office, Kent.
All right.
There's a deep snowdrift on the other side. Follow me.
Right.
Wait a minute. There's someone standing in the rifle pen. He's carrying a rifle. Who's there?
It's me. Fred Harmon.
Oh.
I missed it. I'm sure I missed it.
You missed what, Mr. Harmon?
I heard its wings beating.
What?
I rushed in for a rifle, and by the time I came out again, I could barely see it.
What are you talking about, Mr. Harmon?
It was like an eagle, Kent, only bigger. A white eagle.
I think you'd better go inside, Mr. Harmon.
No, wait. It might come back. I shot at it twice, but I'm sure I missed it.
Take his other arm, Kent.
Let go of me. You think I'm mad, don't you? Well, I'm not. I saw it as clearly as I see you. And I heard its wings. It was big enough to lift a man from the ground. Do you hear? Big enough to lift a man.
Please, Mr. Harmon.
I know it sounds mad, but believe me, it's the truth. Look. What's that sticking up on the snowbank? No. Over there.
It's a feather. A large white feather.
You see. Now do you believe me? Let me see it, Kent.
Here.
It's a feather, all right.
And look at the size of it. Look at it.
Too big for an eagle feather, even a tail quill.
I told you it had a 10-foot wingspread. It was big enough to carry a man off. Kent, do you know what that means?
He's got a crack any minute now, Dawson. Take him into his cabin. I'll be right back.
It means, Kent, that Nancy and Jimmy were carried off somewhere.
I know what it means.
That Superman has to step in. I'm sure Harmon must be mistaken, but I can't take any chances. If there is a bird that big up in the sky, I'll find it. Up! Up! And away!
Drink this brandy, Mr. Harmon. It'll make you feel better.
No, I don't want it. Where did Kent go, Dawson?
I don't know. He said he'd be back.
Dawson, those footprints in the snow, Nancy's and Jimmy's. Remember how they ended abruptly? Remember?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Take this brandy, Mr. Harmon.
Dawson, send a man into town. I want to wire Mr. Bartlett. We're closing the camp, Dawson. I can't stand it any longer.
All right, I'll send a man in. Here, drink this. That'll make you feel better.
What time is it, Dawson?
I don't know, Mr. Harmon. I haven't got my watch.
There's a clock in the back room. Bring it in here.
Okay. There.
All right, put it on the table. What time is it?
8:15.
It's dark out, isn't it? Pitch dark.
Yeah.
Nancy and the boy are out there in the darkness. We may never see them again, Dawson. Never.
No sign of any giant bird yet. I know this is all a waste of precious time, but I've got to satisfy myself that Harmon was just mad with anxiety. And yet his story of the bird and those footprints in the snow match perfectly. Wait. What's that down below me in the forest clearing? Smoke pouring out of a chimney. That's strange. Dawson told me there wasn't a human being within 5 miles of the camp. I think I'll drop down and investigate. Down! Down! It's a log cabin. No light inside, but there must be a fire burning. Might as well look into it as Clark Kent.
It doesn't look like there's anyone home. Wonder whether the door's locked. No, it's open. Hello, is anyone in? Guess not. Wait. Someone stretched out on a cot. What? Why, it's Nancy Harmon. And there's Jimmy on another cot. See now. And they're both breathing evenly. And they're not hurt. Seem to be asleep. Jimmy! Jimmy, wake up! Nothing doing. I know what's the matter. They've been drugged. I'd better get them back to camp as soon as possible.
I'll have to fly with Superman. All right. Here we are. One under each arm. Out the door. Up! Up! And away!
What time is it, Dawson?
You just asked me, Mr. Harmon. 9:25.
Kent hasn't come back yet?
No,
You send a man into town to get that wire off, Dawson?
not yet.
Well, why not? What are you waiting for?
I think we'd better wait until Mr. Kent gets back.
Why?
Well, I don't know, but
What was that wind? Is there a storm coming up?
I don't think so.
Take a look outside.
Okay.
Hold the door open, Dawson.
You found him, Kent?
Nancy! Nancy!
Take it easy, Mr. Harmon. Here, give me a hand with you, Dawson.
Sure.
Put Nancy on the couch. That's it. This settee here is big enough for Jimmy. There you go, young fella. That's fine.
Kent. They're dead.
No, they're not. No, sir. Where's the nearest doctor, Dawson?
At Hart's Landing. That's 50 miles.
What?
What's the matter with them, Kent? Were they hurt?
No, they won't hurt. They're all right. They seem to have been drugged. No doctor nearer than Hart's Landing?
No, but Father Malone at Monville knows a lot about treating the sick. He does it all the time.
Well, send someone for him at once. We may be able to bring Nancy and Jimmy around without help, but let's not take any chances.
Okay, I'll get a sled off right away.
Good.
Kent, will they live?
Of course they will. I'll get you some warm water and get some milk. All the milk you have. We've got to work fast, Mr. Harmon. Every minute counts.
How serious is the condition of Nancy and Jimmy? Were they drugged, as Kent seems to think, or is there another explanation for their mysterious disappearance? And who left them in the log cabin deep in the woods? Don't miss the next episode of Superman if you want the answers.
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.